Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kent. We are a covenantal spiritual community that seeks to be diverse and inclusive as we inspire love, work for justice, and grow together in community. I am the Reverend Renee Rahutsky, one of the affiliated community ministers of this congregation. I am delighted that Becky Klein is back today as today's other worship leader, and she will be sharing a reflection later. Today, we will also be hearing from one of my colleagues, the Reverend Summer Albayati, a UU Muslim of Iraqi descent. She has worked with indigenous communities and communities of color, advocating for equity and education, and creating training and professional development for educators. Both Becky and I liked the idea of having Reverend Summer's perspective via the magic of pre-recorded video. Thank you to everyone involved in leading worship this morning. Our Director of Religious Education, Colleen Taylor, our Director of Music Ministries, Emily Hall, our accompanist, Vanessa Vesley, and a summer version of our choir with the assistance of Holly Wickersham, who stepped in to lead our rehearsals. We also thank our greeters, our tech team, and all of the other staff and volunteers who work behind the scenes to help make our Sunday mornings welcoming. Our minister, the Reverend Christina Church, will be back in the pulpit next week with our very own Ashley Borez, a young adult who grew up in this congregation. We extend a special welcome to our visitors. Thank you for worshiping with us this morning. For our visitors on Zoom, let's wave to the visitors on Zoom. That camera over there, wave to them, yeah. For our visitors on Zoom, if you'd like to know more about our church and be in contact with us, there's a contact link in the chat box at the end of the service. For our visitors in person here, there's a green visitor card available. You can fill that out, and it's a great way to get on our newsletter mailing list to find out about the upcoming activities. You're welcome to drop it in the offering basket when it goes around later in the service. Also, if you're here in person this morning and have a joy or sorrow to be shared during the service, please fill out a yellow card and give it to an usher to bring up during our first hymn. If you're on Zoom, you'll be able to share your joy or sorrow using the chat box. Now, let's take a moment away from the noise and the nonsense that seems to surround us. Take a moment to breathe and to enter into this time of community.
When that storm comes, don't run for cover. When that storm comes, don't run for cover. When that storm comes, don't run for cover. Don't run from the coming storm, 'cause there ain't no use in running when that rain falls. Let it wash away when that rain falls. Let it wash away when that rain falls. Let it wash away. Let it wash away that falling rain, the tears and the trouble. When those lights flash, you hear that thunder roar. When those lights flash, you hear that thunder roar. When those lights flash, you hear that thunder roar. Will you listen to that thunder roar and let your spirit soar when that love calls? Will you open up your door when that love calls? Will you open up the door when that love calls? Will you open up your door? You gotta stand on up and let it in. You gotta let love through your door when for cover when that storm comes. Don't run for cover when that storm comes.
Coming, yeah.
Don't run for cover, no. Don't run from the coming storm, 'cause you can't keep a storm from coming. 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 Coming, coming, coming.
You who are brokenhearted, who woke today with the winds of despair whistling through your mind, come in. You who are brave but wounded, limping through life and hurting with every step, come in. You who are fearful, who live with shadows hovering over your shoulders, come in. This place is sanctuary, and it is for you. You who are filled with happiness, whose abundance overflows, come in. You who walk through the world with lightness and grace, who awoke this morning with strength and hope, you who have everything to give, come in. This place is your calling, a riverbank to channel the sweet waters of your life, the place where you are called by the world's needs. Here we offer in love. Here we receive in gratitude. Here we make a circle from the great gifts of breath, attention, and purpose. Come in. Come, let us worship in the spirit of sanctuary.
We light the chalice this morning with the words of covenant written by James Villa Blake that we'll say in unison. Love is the spirit of the church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Let us join our voices together as we rise in body or spirit to sing our opening hymn, number 1012, When I Am Frightened.
Sing to me quietly, will you shed some I have a story for you this morning, but you have two very important parts. So during the story, when I say the thunder boomed, I need you to be the thunder for me. I need you to boom. Can we try that? Boom. There we go. I like it. Layered. And the second part is when I mention the word sanctuary, I want us to all say it together in a soft tone. Can we try that on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. Sanctuary. You got it. Good job. Good job. All right. So the story I'm going to tell you today is about sanctuary. Let's begin. Once upon a time, there was a girl who was caught outside in a terrible rainstorm. She ran inside to the nearest store to wait it out. And as soon as she closed the door behind her, there was this bright flash and a loud boom of thunder that followed. The girl knew that she would be stuck in this store for a while. So she started to look around at some of the different items in the store when the shopkeeper appeared. The shopkeeper was the oldest woman she had ever seen. And her hair was white and flowing, and her face was all wrinkly. And the girl was brave to admit she was a little scared.
I was a little scared.
Can I help you with something? And the little girl pointed outside, too afraid to speak. Ah, yes. Did you come in here to escape the rain? She nodded. But as soon as she nodded, another loud boom appeared. And that thunder shook the store. Well, honey, you can wait in here, if you'd like, in my little sanctuary. We've got a nice sturdy roof, and we'll keep you safe and dry. The little girl appreciated the offer, but she really needed to get back outside and continue on her way. So the old shopkeeper saw that she was struggling with this decision. Or, she said, you can head back outside.
But I don't have any money.
Don't worry about it. You may continue on your way, and if you see somebody who needs it, just pass it on. Take this umbrella. I don't know why it's raining out there, but I do know that you can keep dry under this portable sanctuary. The little girl beamed and went on her way. She was happy and dry, and she started skipping down the street and saw a boy wearing a nice new suit, trying to keep dry with a newspaper over his head. She heard another loud boom, and the newspaper began to fall apart under the heavy rain, and so she skipped over to the man and put the umbrella as high as she could. Remembering the words from the old shopkeeper, the little girl said to the man,
I don't know why it's raining, but I can provide you with this portable sanctuary.
I don't know why it's raining, she said, but I can provide you with this portable sanctuary. The man smiled in relief. He'd been having a really bad day. You see, he was wearing this suit because he was on his way to a job interview. And he'd been without work for so long. And he had to walk to the interview because he didn't have a car. And he knew he was about to show up at his job interview, sweat and drenched and looking terrible. And he knew he would make a bad first impression. So when the little girl came and said, here, take this umbrella with you. I see my family across the street. The man said, I can't take your umbrella. No, take it. And the little girl said, I don't know why it's raining.
I don't know why it's raining, but I can provide you with this portable sanctuary.
The man couldn't believe how nice the little girl was. But he knew he had to hurry, though, because it was almost time for his important job interview, and another boom of thunder had just hit. And it caused him to start running. Well, I can tell you that the man got the job that he was interviewing for that day, and soon enough, he was able to afford a few umbrellas of his own. And whenever it would rain, he would not only bring his umbrella that the girl had given him, but he would bring 2 more just in case, to give away to people who were stuck outside in the rain. And every time he gave away an umbrella, he would say, I don't know why it's raining, but I do know that you can keep dry under this portable sanctuary. And soon, everyone in their town had an umbrella that they would take with them. And the townspeople, if they passed by someone without one, would give up their own umbrella and pass on the words that we all now know. I don't know why it's raining, but I do know that you can keep dry under this portable sanctuary. Sanctuary. You did so good. You did good. Thank you, choir. So I love this story because it reminds me that sanctuary often is something very simple, and it can be a kind gesture, because the world is so filled with these big things that we can't fix all of them, right? But we can feel each other's pain, we can be there for each other, and we can offer moments of sanctuary. So I wonder, how will you receive the gift of sanctuary this week? How will you give the gift of sanctuary this week? Because I do know that it is raining, right? It is raining out there and it's heavy, but also I know that we can find love and compassion and respite from that right here in this sanctuary that we've created. So let's go out and do that, right? Let's give sanctuary. And now we're gonna sing our children to their classes. We're gonna head across to Pheasanton Hall. If your child is little, we'll bring them back to you, I promise. All right, let's sing our children to their classes.
Each week when we gather for worship, we set aside time for reflection and for the sharing of joys and sorrows on these yellow cards. But first, I want to invite you into a moment of personal sanctuary, a sanctuary of silence. Let us hold silence together for a few moments. Amen. We first set aside time to share sorrows, struggles, and losses. We don't have any in particular this morning that are to be shared, but I do want to just hold space for what's happening in the world around us. I know that I have trouble sleeping at night and worry about friends and family and other beloveds around us. So let's take a moment to say aloud the names of anyone that we are worried about at this moment in time, whether for personal reasons or for more expansive and difficult reasons. Please join me in the spirit of prayer as we hold these difficulties together. Spirit of life and love, we are so grateful to be in this community where we are held by one another's love and care, no matter what happens beyond these walls. We create space for pain and sorrow and loss in personal conversations, or even just a hug or a casserole brought to our doorstep, and in all the other small, tiny ways that we show care and compassion for one another. Help us to feel held, to feel loved, to feel cared for. Amen. We also take time to share joys and celebrations. And I have a joy and celebration from Kate and Chris. Milo is starting preschool tomorrow. So we are very excited for you all. It's a good time. And I'm sure there are other joys and celebrations in the room as well. So we hold those with you.
Please join me in the spirit of prayer. Blessed are you who bear the light in unbearable times, who testify to its endurance amid the unendurable, who bear witness to its persistence when everything seems in shadow and grief. Blessed are you in whom the light lives, in whom the brightness blazes, your heart a chapel, an altar where in the deepest night can be seen the fire that shines forth in you, in unaccountable faith, in stubborn hope, in love that illumines every broken thing it finds. Blessed be. Amen.
I am looking for shelter in a friend. We can build a beginning, but I do not know the end. I am scared of breaking when I bend. We will carry each other on the way. My courage is your courage. When the journey is only getting longer, my strength is your strength. We will carry each other on the way.
There are prayers I don't know how to say, but I still find solace when I close my eyes to pray. What I've lost and what I hope can stay. We will carry each other on the way.
My courage is your courage. When the journey is only getting longer, my strength is your strength. We will carry each other on the way.
I am full and I am running out. I'm a flooding river and I'm living through the drought. I have firm conviction and my heart is full of doubt. We will carry each other on the way.
My courage is your courage.
In his memoir, Walking with the Wind, John L. Lewis told a true story about a group of young children, a wood frame house, and a windstorm. He wrote, "The children were my cousins, about a dozen of them, along with 3 siblings, and me. I was about 4 years old at the time. We had just moved onto some land my father had bought, the first land anyone in his family had ever owned. Almost every neighbor we had were our relatives. Nearly every adult I knew was an aunt or an uncle, every child my first or second cousin. That included my Uncle Rabbit and Aunt Seneva and their children. On this particular afternoon, about 15 of us children were outside Aunt Seneva's house, playing in her dirt yard. The sky began clouding over. The wind started picking up. Lightning flashed far off in the distance, and suddenly I wasn't thinking about playing anymore. I was terrified. I had already seen what lightning could do. I'd watched trees explode when a bolt of lightning struck them. Lightning terrified me, and so did thunder. My mother used to gather us around her when we heard thunder, and she'd tell us to hush. Be still now, because God was doing his work. But my mother wasn't with us on this particular afternoon. Aunt Seneva was the only adult around. Reverend Albayati continues the John L. Lewis story.
Aunt Seneva was the only adult around, and as the sky blackened and the wind grew stronger, she herded us all inside. Her house was not the biggest place around, and it seemed even smaller with so many children squeezed inside, small and surprisingly quiet. All of the shouting and laughter that had been going on earlier outside had stopped. The wind was howling now, and the house was starting to shake. We were scared. Even Aunt Seneva was scared. And then it got worse. Now the house was beginning to sway, the wood plank flooring beneath us began to bend, and then a corner of the room started lifting up. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. None of us could. The storm was actually pulling the house toward the sky, with us inside it. That was when Aunt Seneva told us to clasp hands, line up, and hold hands, she said. And we did as we were told. Then she had us walk as a group toward the corner of the room that was rising. From the kitchen to the front of the house, we walked, the wind screaming outside, sheets of rain beating on the tin roof. Then we walked back in the other direction as another end of the house began to lift. And so it went, back and forth, 15 children walking with the wind, holding that trembling house down with the weight of our small bodies. When the late civil rights activist and U.S. House of Representatives John Lewis was much older, he reflected on that time. More than half a century has passed since that day, and it has struck me more than once over those many years that our society is not unlike the children in that house, rocked again and again by the winds of one storm or another, the walls around us seeming at times as if they might fly apart. It seemed that way in the 1960s, at the height of the civil rights movement, when America itself felt as if it might burst at the seams. So much tension, so many storms. But the people of conscience never left the house. They never ran away. They stayed. They came together, and they did the best they could, clasping hands and moving toward the corner of the house that was the weakest. And then another corner would lift, and we would go there. And eventually, Inevitably, the storm would settle and the house would still stand. But we knew another storm would come, and we would have to do it all over again. And we did. And we still do. All of us. You and I. Children holding hands, walking with the wind. That story lifted up in our own Unitarian Universalist Association worship web is a perfect metaphor for what these past few weeks have felt like. They have felt like a storm in which we feel as if the house we have built is going to blow away. Some of us feel like we don't even have hands to grasp in order to move to one area of the home to help it remain in place. Others of us may cling to rituals that sustain us because that is what we can control in a world that feels out of control. Still, some of us may hold on to family, crying and praying in fear of what is to come. It's a chaotic time for so many of us. We may find so many scrambling in different directions, maybe even running for cover. But how do we stop it all and become like those children holding hands and walking with the wind together? Within Islam, a storm is actually considered a blessing. Rain coming down from the heavens is said to be attributed to the divine mercy upon us. There's a story regarding the Prophet Muhammad who would go out into the rain to pray and thank God for the blessing that would allow food to grow and provide water to drink. One can imagine that in places where it rains so little, all rain, even a storm, would be welcome. But merciful rain provided something else. It provided hope. I'm aware that for many of us, storms are scary. They bring uncertainty and they fill us with fear. And we duck and cover instead of being grateful for the blessed mercy raining down upon us. And why would we be grateful when we are stuck in a life-threatening storm? How can we remain steady and move with all the changes and chaos, finding a new rhythm rather than running for cover and waiting it out? I remember one time visiting a museum in Tennessee and being stuck because of a rainstorm. I wanted so badly to just make a run for it, but everyone told us just to wait it out. Stay away from the trees, they said, for lightning could strike you. We did wait it out, but I wondered what new rhythm we could have found if we did jump into the chaos of the storm, not fearing it, but embracing it. What new courage could have developed from that experience? And now I wonder how we can overcome our fears and become even more courageous as we witness this current metaphorical storm within our nation. Oh, beloveds, we are in crisis once again. Our Unitarian Universalist values of justice and equity are being challenged within the walls of our capital. We witness laws being enacted against the most marginalized within our midst, and we are scared. I believe that with this particular storm, we will need to make a choice. Do we hold hands and move with it, move within it, finding ways to strengthen our communities, providing sanctuary for the most marginalized, all while challenging those who dismantle years of our work, building towards true equity and justice? Or do we run for cover and wait it out? Yes, this is the million-dollar question today. And surviving this storm will become one of the most important decisions of our lifetime. Because if the storm uplifts the houses we have built, the structures we have painstakingly worked towards building, to bend that arc towards justice a little more, to protect those who are most marginalized, then I fear humanity may not survive. Beloveds, the choices we make today are a matter of life and death, literally. We are witnessing on the national stage the criminalization of our trans and immigrant beloveds. ICE is storming homes in search of undocumented immigrants. Passports are being returned with the wrong gender. Thousands upon thousands are losing their jobs and funding because of dismantling models of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I wonder if it is like the story of the 3 little pigs. You remember the one. I will huff and puff and blow your house down. That is a threat of the big bad wolf or sly fox, depending on your version. Well, those little pigs had 3 types of homes: straw, sticks, and bricks. The straw and sticks were easily built. Those piggies wanted to have fun, so they built homes fast. Unfortunately, those homes could not withstand that storm. The pig with the brick home took a long time to build it. They worked so hard and for so long, making sure their structures were strong and could withstand any storm. Their decision was the right one. The storm did not blow it down. Some of us have been in many of these storms. Perhaps we marched in the 1960s and remember the times before the civil rights era. Some of us may have witnessed world wars and even participated in them. Some of us have been blessed with an education that taught us about such historical storms, and we have learned how to do the work together, to move together, to build together. Why? Because we always knew there would be storms. They keep coming one after another, huffing and puffing, but we have known what to do to withstand them and emerge triumphant. So here we are in another storm. For some, this one seems different somehow. It feels as if what we built all these years was made of just straw and sticks. Some of us worry that we don't know what to do. But Lewis reminds us that we just hold on to one another and move together. Naomi Klein, author of The Shock Doctrine, while being interviewed by journalist Mehdi Hassan the other day, tells us that the intention is to shock and awe, so that we run scared and curl up in a ball and give up until it's all over. Instead, we have to remember that we have been here before. Indeed, we have. Many times. The last time we experienced this shock and awe strategy, as Mehdi Hassan said, was during George W. Bush's administration, in which he pummeled the Iraqi people in 2003 with so many missiles that they would have to feel overwhelmed and overpowered and lie down in submission. As Klein reminds us, that isn't what happened. As an Iraqi American, I remember that time very well. It was devastating for those of us who could only watch the dehumanization of our Iraqi family members and friends who were stuck in a horror show. But as was proven over and over, the resilience of the Iraqi people means the temporary overwhelm eventually dissipated, as it must do with the rest of us. That is, history has proven that we will find the way if we hold on to one another and move together within the storm. Yes, that is what we must hold on to now. The overwhelm will eventually dissipate. You might be thinking, but so many of us are hurting. I agree. And we must take the time to grieve. We must do what we must to get ourselves ready to move within the storm. And once we are ready, let us be grateful for what we must do. We have a large task at hand to build the biggest brick house instead of straw and stick so that we will build, and what we build will withstand any new storm. Because there will always be another storm. Let it instead be a storm of mercy. Beloveds, our Unitarian Universalist values are life-saving, and we must use them to guide our way, because without these values living and breathing and moving within our world, I fear many of us will perish. Like the umbrellas given as temporary sanctuary to others in our Time for All Ages story, we must cover and protect those who need it with our life-saving values. So now the million-dollar question is simplified to this. What will you do to help beloved Unitarian Universalists who are affected by this storm? Will you run and hide? Or will you find a steady rhythm in this new storm, working on bringing our sacred values into it, to dismantle it from within? Will you provide a sanctuary to the marginalized? The choice is yours, beloveds. The hope is ours.
Harbor me, would I harbor you? Would you harbor me? Would I harbor you? Would you harbor a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, a heretic, convict, or spy? Would you harbor a runaway woman or child, a poet, a prophet, a king? Would you harbor an exile or a refugee, or person living with AIDS? Would you harbor a Tubman, a Garrett, a Truth, a fugitive, or a slave? Would you harbor a Haitian, Korean, or Czech, a lesbian, or a gay? Would you harbor a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, a heretic, convict, or spy? Would you harbor a runaway woman or child, a poet, a prophet, a king? Would you harbor an exile or a refugee, or person living with AIDS? Would you harbor a Tubman, a Garrett, a Truth, a fugitive, or a slave? Would you harbor a Haitian, Korean, or Czech, a lesbian, or a day, would you harbor me? Would I harbor you? Would I harbor you? Would you harbor me? Would I harbor you? Would you harbor me? Would I harbor you?
It was 5:30 in the morning, March 14th, 2002, and I was living in Florida. I woke to the sound of a baby crying, and I wasn't dreaming. It sounded like the baby was in my bedroom. I remember thinking, my niece Natalie had her baby, and everybody's okay. A half hour later, the phone rang, and it was Natalie calling from Pennsylvania. Kayland was born that morning. After some conversation, I asked, how are her lungs? Natalie said, great. Just about a half hour ago, she was really squalling. A half hour ago? 5:30? A baby in my bedroom? Mystery. Now, I look back on that morning and think maybe, just maybe, it was Kaylin's first attempt to offer her hand to me. Fortunately, it wasn't the last. I'm a pretty intuitive person, so it only took me about 18 years to recognize her hand being extended. By 2017, we all lived in Ohio, and I invited Natalie's family to Thanksgiving dinner. And I was surprised when Kayland, after seeing a framed retirement gift that claimed I had thousands of citations, asked what that meant. Now, I could only imagine she was thinking, why is my aunt not in jail with all of those citations? I explained that I was a researcher as well as a teacher and what citations mean in the research publication world. She asked serious questions about my research, and I treated her questions seriously. And afterwards, I thought, she knows more than any other family members about my research because she cared to ask. Interesting. So 15 years later, Kayland had reached out again, but honestly, I didn't really recognize that as an extended hand. Fast forward 2.5 years, and we're in the midst of the pandemic. I was isolating at home. March of 2020, I had a phone conversation with Natalie, something we don't do very often. A day or two later, the phone rang. It was Kayland. She asked, do you chat? What? Do you chat on the phone? I know you talked to my mom this week. Sure, I said hesitantly, and we had a nice conversation. Afterwards, I puzzled, why does a teenager want to talk to a 70-year-old? Whatever was the case, I was grateful. It was nice, it was warm, it was interesting, it was real. But my intuitive self still wasn't quite there. It took another week and a second call, and I began to see her hand reaching out. And then another week, another call, and another, and another. Later that summer, I held a surprise high school graduation party for Kayland, family only, on my patio. Kayland's big party had been canceled. I wanted to do something special for her because we had begun holding hands. And now I was extending my hand to her. Those weekly calls continued and continue, including yesterday, along with some brunches, lunches, and walks in the park through her undergraduate years, including her study abroad in France. Yes, she actually did call me from another continent. Her wedding planning, and the start of her busy career. So when I had an accident and broke my back 2 years ago, you might not be surprised it was Kayland I called from the ER. She was a senior in college, majoring in nursing, living in Avon Lake. And I thought maybe somebody geographically close, other than the ambulance crew, should have an idea what was going on. I might need some help. And I confess, like many of you, I have a hard time extending my hand, asking for help. It was early evening, and I filled her in. She immediately asked, "Do you need me to come down?" And I said, "No, you don't need to do that. I just thought someone closer should know." Her firm response, "I'm coming down." She did. She came to the ER. She went to my house. She took care of Denali, my miniature dachshund. She came back to the hospital. She stayed until after 3 o'clock in the morning, and she had clinicals early the next morning, which she couldn't miss without risking delaying her graduation a year. Kayland is now 23, a nurse in the pediatric cardiology ICU at Cleveland Clinic, and one of my best friends. How did that happen? She reached out, she called, and called again. She repeatedly offered her hand, and I finally saw and accepted it. We have joined hands, not just as family, but as friends. It sounds so simple, this metaphorical hand-holding, but it's complicated. It takes two. It takes trust. It takes vulnerability. Too often we hesitate to extend a hand, or it's unseen, or ignored, or rejected, and we just give up. Or another extends a hand and we don't see it or accept it. Now, I'm not advocating accepting every offered hand. We all know some offers are false. Some people are looking for something you can't provide, some to use you. So I certainly encourage discernment. I have my own trust issues. But I am reminded that some, many, are looking to join you, to know you, to align with you, to magnify the personal and social strength that happens and grows in union. Some are looking to hold hands with you as storm clouds gather, as thunder and lightning abound, and as the floods of our personal, social, political, and cultural lives threaten to drown us. And I'm reminded of the magic and mystery that can happen when a young person, an old person, or any person extends a hand and we grasp it warmly and eventually fully. This hand-holding is the stuff of which community is made. This hand-holding is how we make it through the storms. It's knowing that someone has not just our hand, but that someone has our back. It's the stuff of our very survival. It's the stuff of hope. It's the stuff of resilience. And it's foundational to solidarity. And solidarity, my friends, solidarity is how we help to keep the house from being blown away. May it be so.
Will the ushers please come forward? Our offering is a ritual where the congregation brings its resources together to support the work of the congregation. Many give monthly or online, and we have QR codes and text-to-give options. But passing the baskets is a reminder of the gifts that we give and receive as part of this community. If you're a visitor, please know that your presence is its own gift. We have a small gift, a bookmark, that you are welcome to take as you pass the basket. We also have an opportunity to donate to our August special collection, recipient, the World Kitchen. Be sure to mark that donation on an envelope as for the special collection, or else mark it online. Thank you for all that you give this day and every day. And our special music is going to be the hymn, Circle Round. The choir will sing it through once, and then we invite you to join us on a couple of other verses.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole.
Please join us.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole.
Please join in speaking together our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our closing hymn is a new one called This Boat. We invite you to sing the chorus with us just as we learn it. We'll sing the verses, and eventually this will be a hymn in our repertoire from our new hymnal.
Rise in body or spirit and sing with us. It starts on the chorus. Here we go. Give a little intro.
This boat is steady, this boat is sure. When you're ready, climb aboard. When you're ready, grab hold. This boat will carry us to the farthest shore. Beyond the marshes,
go now with this blessing from Jan Richardson. So may we know hope that is not just for today, not just for someday, but for this day, here now, in this moment that opens to us. Hope not made of wishes, but of substance. Hope made of sinew and muscle and bone. Hope that has breath and a beating heart. Hope that will not keep quiet and be polite. Hope that knows how to holler when it's called for. Hope that knows how to sing when there seems little cause. Hope that raises us from the dead. Not someday, but this day, every day, again and again and again. Go in hope and peace.
Thank you.